So today we're going to be looking at simplifying complex fractions. And so in this video I'm going to look at this fraction right here, and I'll have another video where I look at a more advanced problem. So there are two ways we can address this fraction right here. We can either multiply by a clever form of 1 to get rid of all of these denominators, or we can combine the fractions on top and combine the fractions on the bottom and turn it into a division problem. So I'm going to start by multiplying by a form of 1. And so the way you do this, you want to look at each piece of the fraction and multiply by a number that will get rid of the denominator. So starting off with 5 over x minus 1, well, we're going to want to multiply by x minus 1 because that's going to get rid of the denominator here. And since this piece here that we're multiplying by has to be equal to 1, we have to put this over x minus 1. So moving on to the next term, 2 over x plus 1. Well, to get rid of the x plus 1, we'd multiply by x plus 1. And once again, since this is since this has to be equal to 1, we'd do x plus 1 on the bottom. And moving on to our third term, x over x minus 1, we'd multiply by x minus 1 to get rid of the denominator. But you'll notice we're already doing that, so we don't have to write it again. And same for this next term, 1 over x plus 1. We're already multiplying by x plus 1, so we don't need to do anything about that. So now, this is just a multiplication problem. So we're going to multiply the top piece by the top piece and the bottom piece by the bottom piece. So starting with our first term, 5 over x minus 1, that's just going to turn into 5 times x minus 1, x plus 1, over x minus 1, minus 2, x minus 1, x plus 1, over x plus 1. And this is all going to be over x minus 1 times x plus 1 over x minus 1, and then that's plus 1 times x minus 1, then x plus 1, or plus 1 over x plus 1. So now we can cancel some terms in this fraction. So starting with the top term, we can cancel the x plus 1s. Whoops, I forgot a parentheses. X plus 1s. Or x minus 1s, I'm sorry. Here we can cancel the x plus 1s. Here we can cancel the x minus 1s once again. And here we can cancel the x plus 1s. So now we are left with 5 times x plus 1 minus 2x minus 1 over x plus 1 plus 1x minus 1. So now we can expand this fraction, so we get 5 times, we get 5x plus 5 minus 2x plus 2 over x squared plus x, and this last part plus x minus 1. And if we cancel some of our terms once again, we're going to be left with 3x plus 7 over x squared plus 2x minus 1. So the next way of doing this problem is by combining the numerator into one fraction and the denominator in one fraction into one fraction and making it a division problem. So for the top piece, the way we combine it is we find a common denominator, which we'd get by multiplying these two numbers, and then we just have to make it one fraction. So the way I'd do that is I'd multiply this whole piece by x plus 1 over x plus 1, and this whole piece by x minus 1 over x minus 1. And so what that looks like is 5 over x minus 1 times x plus 1 over x plus 1, and that's going to be minus 2 over x plus 1 times x minus 1 over x minus 1. And so now this is just, we basically just multiply these out, and so we get 5 times x plus 1 over x minus 1, x plus 1. And you'll notice, since these two fractions are going to have the same denominator, we can just combine them into one. So that's going to be minus 2 times x minus 1. And so that's our top piece. And so for the bottom piece, we're going to do the same thing. So we're just multiplying this, we're going to cross multiply, so this is going to be x times x plus 1. This is going to be 1 times x minus 1, and that's going to be over x minus 1 and x plus 1. And I'm sorry, this is the bottom piece of the fraction, so it's going to look like that. So now we can expand this fraction, and before we do our division, because that'll make it much easier, so that's going to be 5x plus 5 minus 2x plus 2 over x minus 1, x plus 1 over x squared plus x minus 1. And that's over x minus 1, x plus 1. And so if we do some more so if we cancel out all our terms again, we're going to get 3x plus 7 over x minus 1, should be a parenthesis there, x minus 1, x plus 1 over x squared plus 2x minus 1 over x minus 1, x plus 1. And so now this is just a division problem, and the way we solve that is we flip the denominator and multiply. So that's going to look like 3x plus 7 over x minus 1, x plus 1. It's going to be over, or sorry, not over, multiplied by, we're going to flip this right here, so x minus 1, x plus 1 over x squared plus 2x minus 1. Alright, so now when we multiply these, well, these terms cancel out, so we are just left with 3x plus 7 over x squared plus 2x minus 1, which is the same answer we got last time.